are there? One, two, three, four, five. Oh, oh, I see. Ready? Oh, Nick. Guys, at the G. Left versus Greg. Grabs on Zlent. I think that's Nathan. Nathan versus Greg. Greg takes out Nathan. I have no idea who that is. It's Lazy. Lazy versus Greg. Greg has timing on Lazy. Lazy takes out Greg. Aiden. 1v3 now. Aiden grabs the 2. Back. First point goes to Oaks. Zlent versus Nick. Nick. Zlent versus Greg. Greg takes out Zlent. Greg versus Effigy. Greg grabs the 2. I think I'm gonna take out Effigy. Aiden versus Lazy. Lazy takes out. Nathan gives it to Aiden. Aiden gets the 4. Aiden's swirling on someone else. Aiden takes out J-Bro. Nathan versus Aiden now. Aiden gonna take out Nathan. Nick versus Lent. Nick takes out Nathan. 3v2. Nathan versus Nick. Nick takes out Nathan. Greg versus Lazy. Nick sacrifices for Greg. Greg versus Effigy. Effigy in the back, 1v1. Lazy versus Greg. Greg holds. Greg wins the round. 2-1. Versus Length. Aiden grabs the 2. Unable to go back. Nathan versus Nick. Nathan's taken out by Nathan. At the G, going for Greg. 1v4 situation. Greg takes out at the G. Flicks onto Nathan, reaches him. His length interfering a little. Greg grabs the 2, gives it back. Nathan dies. 2v1. His length versus Greg. Greg holding on Zlint. Gives it. Oh my god, when hold. Lazy versus Greg now. Lazy. 2-2. Greg wins that. Nick takes out Nathan. Nick grabs from Lazy. Nick switching up. Nick sacrifices. Could have given that to J-Bro. Ethgy versus Greg. Greg grabs the 2. Unable to get it back though. Grabs a low 2. J-Bro versus Aiden. Aiden in a 1v4 now. Aiden grabs a 2. Gives it back. Brings it down to a 1v3. Ethgy versus Aiden. Aiden gives a 3. Aiden dies. 3-2. Greg starting out with Nathan. Greg holding on Nathan. Gives a 2. Unable to give it back though. Greg versus Luck now. Greg, I don't know how that wasn't a grab. Nick saves Greg. J-Bro versus Greg. Greg switching up. Unable to give it though. J-Bro versus Aiden. Aiden unable to give it back. She takes out Aiden. J-Bro versus Nick now. J-Bro takes out Nick. Greg in a 1v5. J-Bro versus Greg. Greg switching up. Lazy dies. Brings it down to a 1v4. J-Bro takes out Greg. 5-2. Aiden gets stuck on the wall. Dies to Nathan. Lazy versus Nick. Nick reaches Lazy. They're gonna chain play. It fails the chain play. Ethgy versus Greg. Nick interfering. Nick unable to grab it. Dies. Greg in a 1v4 now. J-Bro gets killed by Greg. Brings it down to a 1v3. Grabs the 6. Grabs the... unable to grab the 2. What? Okay. 6-2. Nick unable to give it to J-Bro. Nathan going for Greg. J-Bro gives it to Greg and chains it to Nathan. Greg versus J-Bro. Greg holding. Giving it to Aiden to chain, but fails. Greg versus J-Bro. J-Bro unable to reach. Lazy dies. J-Bro sacrifices Lazy. Nathan versus Greg. Greg. Unable to Greg. Okay. I don't know what that was. Jabril versus Greg now. Greg takes out Jabril. He's down to a 1v1. Effigy versus Greg. That's Effigy. Set 1 goes to Oaks. What's your stay, Greg? You better hurry. Who's Michael's what? Oaks versus Beast. Set 1. Set 2.
Aiden's gonna restart his PC because his block strap is being weird.
Okay.
Bro, I can't do everything alone, bro.
I know. Oh my god. I have to add all these fucking spectators now.
Because they buy Veil Plus.
Yes. And I can't do. Oh, I can't
Fuck
do
'em.
him. have to do it to every single VIP I own, basically. Why does this dude have a special? Oh, he's not even part of AO5 Plus anymore. Are we good? Where's?
Waiting for Aiden. He was starting his PC because his block strap was like bleeding out.
Where's Nick?
Nick is here.
Okay, I didn't see him back there. I can't start till y'all have 3 anyways. I don't know why it's cut off. My height? Wait, 1 second. It shouldn't be. Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, it shouldn't be. Does it sound different from like on stream? Hello?
Hello?
Yo.
Yo.
On Discord it sounds good. Discord.
Discord.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright, we're good.
We're
We're
good?
good?
Oh, never mind. We're not.
What do you mean?
We're not. Stop it.
Why? Y'all need 3.
He's right here. Aiden's right here.
Are we good? Bro.
Yeah, fuck it. Fuck it, bro. I don't care.
Right there. We got Nick versus Lazy. Nick grabs the 3. Back to Lazy. Lazy dies. Nick versus Dezlemp now. Dezlemp dies. Unable to take out Greg. We got Effigy versus Nick. Effigy dies to Nick. Nathan versus Aiden. Nathan holds. Unable to chain it. Nathan versus Aiden again. Playing ring around the rosy here. Nathan grabs the 2. Unable to give it. Aiden dies there. Give a chain play. Nathan versus Nick. Nathan looks like he has timing. Nick unable to give it back. 1v1. Nathan versus Greg. takes out Nathan. Oh, wrong team. Ethigy versus Aiden. Greg interfering. Greg holding on Ethigy. Ethigy is taken out by Greg. Greg going for lazy now. Forward. I keep forgetting to do that. Greg versus lazy. Lazy gets taken out by Greg. Jabril versus Greg. Greg holding on Jabril. Takes out Jabril. Nathan versus Greg now. Greg takes out Nathan. Zlent versus Greg. Greg grabs it. Takes out Zlent. Solos them. 2-0. Effigy AFK. Greg versus Jabril. Greg versus Jabril. Zlent versus Aiden. Aiden chaining it to Jabril. Jabril trying to switch up. Kills his own teammate Zlent. Nathan going for Nick. Nick giving it to his own teammate. Nick chaining it to Jabril. Jabril unable to give it back to Aiden. Aiden versus Lazy now. Aiden holding. Goes back to Lazy. 2v1 now. Nick wins around. Nick versus Lazy. Nick gets reached. Greg chaining it though. Great chain play. Nathan versus Greg. Greg. Nick sacrifices for Greg. Greg versus Jabril. Greg. Back. Aiden in a 1v4 now. Aiden grabs a 2. Gives it back. Jabril dies. Brings it down to a 1v3. Aiden grabs the 2. Unable to get back. 3-1. Ethigy versus Greg. Greg has timing. Never mind. What? Okay. Aiden versus Lent. Aiden looks like he has timing. He does. Takes out Lent. Aiden versus Ethigy. Aiden takes out Ethigy. 2v3 now. Jabril versus Nick. Nick takes out Jabril. 2v2 now. Nathan versus Nick. Nick grabs his what? Nathan unable to give it back. Lazy in a 2v1 now. Aiden back. 4-1. 5-6. Wait. They better have saw it. Nick versus Gabriel. Nick takes out Gabriel chain. Lazy sacrifices. Greg switching up. Greg gives it to Gabriel. Gabriel takes out Rando. Nick versus Gabriel. Nick gives it back. Gabriel dies. 3v2 now. Effigy versus Aiden. Effigy dies to Aiden. Aiden sacrifices for Greg. Nathan takes out Nick. 1v1 now. Nathan unable to give it back. 5-1. Nick versus Randall. Randall. What the? Greg versus Randall. Greg is switching up, unable to give it back though. Aiden versus Randall. Aiden holding, switching up, unable to give it. 5-2. Greg versus Nathan. Greg grabs it, gives to Nathan. Nathan gives it back. Greg dies. Nick versus Gabriel. Nick takes out Gabriel. Aiden takes out Nathan. Brandon versus Nick now. Unable to give it. Aiden getting confused. 3-5. Brandon versus Aiden. Brandon holds on Aiden. Aiden goes now. Effigy AFK. Greg dies to Lazy. Nick takes out Gabriel. Ranu versus Nick. Nick grabs it. Takes out Randy. Randy takes out Nathan. Nick grabs. Takes out Ranu. Ranu versus Effigy now. I mean, Effigy versus Nick. Nick takes out Effigy. Nick versus Lazy. Grabs it from Lazy. Takes out. One more for Beast. Tries a chain play and takes out Nathan. Randy goes to the wall. Greg grabs. Takes out Effigy. J-Bro versus Greg now. J-Bro takes out Greg. 2v2. Lazy takes out Nick. Aiden in a 1v2. J-Bro dies to Aiden. 1v1. This is for the game for Beast, or set for Beast. Lazy takes out Aiden. Dang. Okay, 6-4. Greg takes out J-Bro. Greg versus Effigy. Nick, little interference. Aiden takes out Effigy. Brand new versus Greg now. Greg takes out Brandon. Greg versus Nathan. Greg grabs on Nathan. Takes out Nathan. Last is Lazy. This is for the set for Beast. Greg holds, gives it to Lazy. Beast won the set.
Yay! Nice, I'm back, bitch.
7-4. 7-4. Why are all of you guys in before any of the fucking...
I like it.
No, it's supposed to be their server. I literally see all of you in before them.
He joined first.
This is the exact same server, bro.
Yes, I did not join first.
Oh my god. Alright, I see. You see this, Greg? Greg, look at this.
Oh, you joined first? Okay.
That's proof. No, it's set 3. We good? 1, 2, 3. J-Bro versus Aiden. J-Bro going for Greg. Nick sacrifices for Greg. Greg takes out Nathan. Greg versus Effigy. Greg, unable to grab it, dies to Effigy. Aiden in a 1v3 now. Aiden takes out Lazy. Brandon versus Aiden now. Aiden gets stuck on the wall. Effigy versus Nick. J-Bro interfering. Chain play to Randu. Randu dies. Aiden versus Nathan now. Nathan takes out Aiden. Nathan versus Nick. Nathan takes out Nick. Greg in a 1v4. Nathan has timing. Takes out Greg. Bro. Is this better? Oh my god. Like, what is wrong with my mic? Dude, I need to get my PC back, dude. 1 second. My mic's all the way up, too. Nathan versus Greg. Chain play. J-Bro kills Randu. Nathan versus Nick. Nathan takes out Nick. Aiden versus Nick. Aiden versus Nathan. Aiden holds. Nathan has timing. Takes out Aiden. Greg in a 1v4 again. Nathan takes out Greg. 4-0. Versus Aiden. Nathan takes out Aiden. Nathan versus Greg. J-Bro interferes, tries to chain, but fails. Nathan dies. Randy versus Greg. Randy gets stuck in the corner. Greg versus Effigy. Greg unable to take out Effigy. Nick in a 1v2. Nick takes out gives it to Effigy. Lazy sacrifices. Nick versus Effigy. Effigy won it. Nick takes out Nathan. Nick versus Lazy. Nick grabs. Takes out Lazy. Effigy versus Nick now. Nick, unable to grab, but runs it. Nick versus Nathan. I mean, Nick versus Ranu. Nick takes out Ranu. Greg. J-Bro on the 1v3 against Greg. J-Bro has timing. Never mind, Greg has timing. Greg unable to give it back. J-Bro versus Nick now. Nick holds. J-Bro. No sweep, no sweep. Aiden versus J-Bro. J-Bro. Dies from that somehow. Aiden versus Nathan. Aiden takes out Nathan. Ranu versus Aiden now. 3v3. Aiden. Unable to give it back. Nick versus Ranu. Nick grabs the 2. Nick unable to give it back. Greg in a 1v3 now. Greg gives it to Ranu. Ranu dies. Brings it down to a 1v2. Greg switching up to Lazy. Lazy unable to give it. Brings it down to a 1v1. Lazy versus Greg. I mean, Effigy versus Greg. Greg looks like he might have timing. Unable to give it, though. 6-1. Aiden versus Ranu. Aiden unable to grab. Aiden dies to Ranu. Greg versus Nathan. Greg unable to grab. Takes out Ranu. Takes out Nathan, actually. J-Bro versus Greg. Ranu dies. Or Ranu takes out Greg. Nick needs to clutch just to win. Or to stay in. Takes out 1. Effigy has timing.